Bonjour tout le monde. Monsieur Grand Soleil Unir demande dire je parle en français pour les amusements de vous. Hey everybody, it's Mark, Dr. Deadwax. I'm back for day 39 of the Inbox Challenge, and today's numbers were brought to us by xxKevyMetalxxx. Do not ask what the XXX is about. Today we're brought to us by Cobblestone Stout from Mill Street Brewery. It does this gorgeous, I don't know if I can show this. Does it show it cascading? Alright, will it not take that into focus? Anyway, it takes about 45 seconds. So, Kevy picked 4 numbers. We're going to do 4 records. And the first record is Tangerine Dream Zeit. This is a 2-record set. I think Tangerine Dream's 3rd record. This is the inside of the gatefold. This is the back cover. And this is on OR OMM 2-56021 stereo. So this is a first pressing on OR. Now, one of the ways you can tell that this is a first pressing on OR is where it goes 2-56021. On second pressings, it'll go 2-/56-021. So the 56021 has a break in the middle of it. And I wrote about this about a year ago through an auction that somebody has here locally, and they're kind of hit and miss. Like, they do like these mail auctions, but they keep dropping me off their mailing list. I think they have this thing where when you spend like $200 with them, they delete your email, because I buy stuff from them every time they send me an email, but they keep dropping me from the list, and I keep having to, like, I missed this year's entirely. So but I bought this like last October's auction, so a year, like 13 months ago. And I got it for $22 in there. It's kind of like a, they put a list up and then you email them your bid, and it's kind of weird, but it's amazing because I got some great records. I got like a sealed Rush record for $8. Maybe that's why they don't want me participating anymore. And there's the back side of the label. And this, oops, that's upside down. And this is the side with the information on it. And that's platter too. But, I mean, look at this record. This record is, like, absolutely gorgeous. You can read what I've typed out in my notes in the reflection of the, in the dead wax there. And this pressing is, I looked at this today and I was like, God, this is, like, new. There's no way this is from 1972, but I checked it out. I checked the dead wax online and everything, and this is a pressing from 1972, and it is absolutely gorgeous, and it plays gorgeous. My God, I gotta find German pressings of edition EG records, because this is the most silent, quiet, delicate music there is, and it is absolutely the most beautiful pressing. Cheers, everybody. Oh, that is just gorgeous. So it's kind of like a 4-part suite, in 4 movements, and it's just fantastic music. It's kind of like the soundtrack to a science fiction film. It's a little bit eerie. It's very quiet, very moody, very delicate. It's just wonderful, and I'm really happy that I wrote Andy and he helped me. Andy DB24. look him up if you're interested in Tangerine Dream. He's got a shit ton of great videos on everything Tangerine Dream and kind of German electronica and stuff. So this was just a total buy at 22 bucks. And so that's the first one. And I can recommend that to anybody. Now the other three numbers, they corresponded to a package I got from Zach Geek of records that I'd bought and had shipped to him, and he repackaged them all and sent them on to me. And in there were a bunch of records that he also sent to me as VCLT. And the first one that was in there that was VCLT was a copy of Jon Anderson's Animation, and this is a DJ promo copy. It says here it's ownership and right to possession reserved by Atlantic Recording Corporation. So if they write anybody, do not give them my address, because now they know I have it. But it's got the gold label stamp on the back. The vinyl isn't white label. It's 1982 now, so probably weren't doing white labels anymore. So it's on the standard Atlantic label. This is just a gorgeous, gorgeous copy, Jack. I can't get over this. I love this record. I absolutely adore this record. I've had this. I bought this record when I was a kid. I was in grade 9 when Drama was released, and Yes broke up after that, and Jon Anderson did John and Vangelis, and then he came out with this as a solo record. And I saw this tour with Clemson on guitar from Humble Pie, David Sanchez from the E Street Band, Gabriel and Sting on keyboards, Stefano Seri, an Italian bass player who sadly has passed away, but he just a total journeyman bass player who did studio work for everybody in both rock and jazz, and drums were Guy Schiffman. And this pressing is fantastic. It sounds amazing. It has Atlantic Studios DK, Atlantic Studios D.K. in the stamped in the dead wax, and that is for Dennis King, who cut the plates at Atlantic Studios. And it has EDP in an oval in the dead wax. I don't know if I can show that. I don't know if that'll show up, but maybe it will. I haven't even tried to get anything to show lately because there hasn't really been anything to show. But okay, so there's the oval at like 12 o'clock. But I can't really. Yeah, there it is. At 12 o'clock there. So that's the oval. Okay, and EDP in an oval stands for Europa disc plating, and they were out of New York. And then if we go into the label, you'll see that the code on the bottom of the label, if it focuses for us. Come on. There. So the STA-824919-AR, the -AR means that this record was actually pressed at Allied Record Company, Inc. in Los Angeles. So plates were cut in, by Atlantic Studios by Dennis King, and then the plates were actually plated in New York City, and then they were shipped out to LA, and then they were pressed, and then this was made into these would have been pulled out of the line and made into a promo pressing. Now I still have my copy from when I was a kid. It's in one of the bins. I couldn't pull it out. Couldn't get my hands on it immediately. But I know it still has like the original handwritten receipt in it from the store, and I know the store I bought it from Star Records on Eglinton. I love this record, and getting to see this tour was just one of the highlights of my entire concert-going career. It's still probably the number one show I ever saw. I remember we had it was at the O'Keefe Center in Toronto, which is now the Hummingbird Center, and we had these seats that were like the first row that wasn't in the orchestra area, and we got in there, and Evita was like, they were doing a stage show of Evita, and they had the stage set up, and they had a day off when Jon Anderson was playing because he'd booked a tour in North America, but it hadn't sold well enough. But Toronto had sold out at Massey Hall, but they gave everybody their tickets back and their money back. And I didn't know about the Massey Hall show, so I never would have saw him if he hadn't canceled. But he just did the shows that sold out, and they had to build his stage in front of the stage over top of the orchestra seating, so we actually had like third row instead of like 12th. So it was just fantastic. He played for 3.5 hours. He did like tons of Yes, tons of his solo material, and tons of Jon Evangelos too. It was just fucking awesome. And I think I was like 14, 15, so it was just great. And my pressing, when I found it and I played it recently, I really was like, wow, this is really bright and really shrill. And the CD version of this record is actually was only put out a couple years ago, and it's actually a needle drop of a really bright, shrill, shitty record. So the CD is garbage. This fucking pressing is gorgeous. This has all the shrillness of his voice, and the top end of the music's out of is not here, and the bottom is booming, and the other ones are so flat on the bottom. So fuck Zach, I'm really happy with this. This is awesome. So thank you very much. And this is one of the ones I had bought on and had forwarded to Zach for him to roll into a big box for me. And this is a ECM Paul Motion tribute, and this is ECM 1048, and it's got a little damage to it, but whatever. And this came with the original inner sleeve, and you know what a great time this was. Eberhard Weber's The Color of Chloe, Benny Maupin, The Jewel in the Nile, sorry, The Jewel in the Lotus, Dave Liebman, Lookout Farm, Keith Jarrett solo concerts, Holland Quartet, Conference of the Birds, Wichita Taito, Circle, I have Circle. Just there's some great shit that was coming out of ECM at that time. Now this is a US pressing, and this is on the Polydor ECM label. It's actually darker green, but this is when they were pressed by Polydor, as you can see on the label, as opposed to the later pressings which were done by Warner. I've shown some of the Warner ones. They're the ones that are kind of see-through to the light, that were done at Wakefield Manufacturing in Arizona, and those are okay, but the rest of the Warner stuff that wasn't pressed at that plant, and the ones that are mastered by Bob Ludwig, I just don't think are very good. I really think these Polydor period ECM pressings, if you can get them, would be the desirable ones. These always sound really good, except, you know, the only thing that would sound better than these would be the German ones. This is pretty straight ahead, slightly avant jazz, slightly, you know, contemporary jazz. It's, yeah, contemporary jazz, slightly avant. It's excellent, excellent stuff. And the players are Carlos Ward, Sam Brown, Paul Metzke, Charlie Hayden, and Paul Motion. So you really, you know, another solid lineup. And so that was a good one. And that played just perfectly, even though the cover's a little pooched. The actual vinyl is gorgeous. And then this was another VCLT from Zach that was in the box. For Girls That Grow Plump in the Night, Caravan. This is on Darum. And it's a gatefold. And comes with the uncommon, funky original inner, which just has like information about record care and stuff on it. It's not a... And this is the Darum label. And when I saw the record here, I was just like, you can't really ask for anything more. A Darum pressing from England, an England Darren pressing. Check the dead wax. This is a first pressing. Look at these. I thought to myself, Jesus, Zach, you're sending me things from the Wolverine collection. But they're just fucking smudges. It's actually perfect. This is I can't believe you sent me this record. This record is worth like 40, 50 bucks. This is a 3U stamper with 1A plates. This is a very, very absolute first UK pressing of this record. And this is actually a really good Caravan record as well. I reviewed Better by Far recently, which was absolutely atrocious. This is great. This has got some fantastic, some really fantastic pieces. I especially like the Sweet on side 2 that has L'Auberge de Sanglier and All Hunting We Go Pangola Backwards and All Hunting We Go Reprise. Great use of violin and cello, guitars, bass, drum, organ. David Sinclair was back in the band after having left the band for an album, and so his keyboards are back in it. This is just a fucking monster. So once again, so this is just a great Caravan record, and thanks, Zach. Like, wow. And Paul Motion on ECM. Now, Kevy, I know you said you didn't have any ECM in a comment the other day. We got to get you some ECM because I don't know. I think you're gonna like it. I mean, ECM is kind of, there's nothing on ECM really that's like, say, Blue Note or some of the other classical, standard classical jazz houses like Blue Note and Prestige. Very little, maybe a little bit of the free stuff that was on those labels. It's all contemporary jazz, avant jazz, modern, contemporary jazz, classical jazz, and just stuff like that. But there's some fantastic things on it. This is pretty good, but the two that I've shown recently that I'd recommend if you want to go out and try some ECM would be Colin Walcott's Cloud Dance and that record Gallery I showed a couple weeks ago, which is just fucking phenomenal. Jon Anderson, yeah, she liked it too. That's Lisa. I love this record. I would say that this is probably for completionists. I think not too many people other than me are going to gush over that record, and that's just because it takes me back to sitting in my basement on the street I grew up in when I was 15 years old, listening to that record all the time and going to see the concert in grade 10 and the whole, like, just, it transports me back. And finally, Tangerine Dream, Zeit. Thanks again, Andy, for helping me make sure I got a true first pressing of that record, and I can recommend that. So, Kevy, those were some great numbers, some great records. I had a wonderful night of listening. So, cheers. Thanks everybody for watching, commenting, subscribing, heckling. Have a great day. Keep the record spinning.